Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am VC Pramod and with me is Renuka RS with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi appeals to spiritual leaders to disseminate vocal for local message among their followers. 14-member Bihar cabinet sworn in with Nitish Kumar as Chief Minister. Tarkeshwar Prasad and Renu Devi of the BJP become Deputy Chief Ministers. EPFO facilitates multiple options for submission of digital life certificate for pensioners. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 93.27% in the country. Information and Broadcasting Ministry requests compliance of policy on FDI in digital media within a month. And Baghjan blowout well in Tinsukia district of Assam fully brought under control. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask. Maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing. Focus on hand and face hygiene. Now the news. Nitish Kumar was sworn in as Chief Minister of Bihar for the 7th term this afternoon. Bihar Governor Phagu Chauhan administered the oath of office in secrecy to Mr. Kumar at Raj Bhavan in Patna. 14 other ministers were also sworn in along with Mr. Kumar. Out of them, 7 are from the BJP, 5 from JDU and 1 each from Vikashsheel Insan Party VIP and Hindustani Awam Morcha HAM. BJP Legislature Party Leader Tarkeshwar Prasad and Deputy Leader Renu Devi have been made the new Deputy Chief Ministers. Other ministers from the BJP are Mangal Pandey, Ram Surat Kumar, Jivesh Kumar, Rampreet Paswan and Amrendra Pratap Singh. The ministers from Janata Dal United are Vijay Kumar Chaudhary, Sheila Kumari, Ashok Kumar Chaudhary, Vijendra Prasad Yadav and Mewalal Chaudhary. Santosh Kumar Suman of the HAM and Mukesh Sahni of VIP also took oath as new ministers. Mr. Sahni is the chief of the VIP and he is not member of the House. He lost the election from Simri Bhaktiyarpur Assembly seat. BJP President JP Nadda, Home Minister Amit Shah, Union Minister of State for Home Nityanand Rai, Bihar BJP in charge Bhupendra Yadav and election in charge Devendra Fadnavis were present at the swearing-in ceremony. The NDA secured absolute majority by winning 125 seats in the recently held Bihar Assembly elections.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today unveiled the Statue of Peace in Pali district of Rajasthan through video conference on the 151st birth anniversary of Sureshwar Ji Maharaj. Addressing the function, he appealed to saints and seers to disseminate the message of vocal for local among their followers. He said that saints and seers had played important role in strengthening and pushing the freedom movement.
आज 21वीं सदी में मैं आचार्यों से, संतों से, भगवंतों से, ऋषियों से, कथाकारों से एक आग्रह करना चाहता हूं। जिस प्रकार से आजादी के आंदोलन की पीठिका भक्ति आंदोलन से शुरू हुई, भक्ति आंदोलन ने ताकत दी, वैसे ही आत्मनिर्भर भारत की पीठिका तैयार करने का काम भी हमारे संतों, महंतों, आचार्यों का है। आप जहां भी जाएं, जहां भी बोले, अपने शिष्य हो या संत जन हो, आपके मुंह से लगातार ये संदेश देश के हर व्यक्ति तक पहुंचते रहना चाहिए और वो संदेश है वोकल फॉर लोकल.
Mr. Modi said, New Year is a year of spiritual aura, a year of inspiration. Mr. Modi said the land of Gujarat has given 2 Vallabhs, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel in the political field and Acharya Vijay Vallabh Ji Maharaj in the spiritual field.
दोनों ने ही भारत की एकता और भाईचारे के लिए अपना जीवन समर्पित कर दिया. मेरा सौभाग्य है कि मुझे देश ने सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल की विश्व की सबसे ऊंची स्टैच्यू ऑफ यूनिटी के लोकार्पण का अवसर दिया था और आज जैनाचार्य विजय वल्लभ जी की स्टैच्यू ऑफ पीस के अनावरण का सौभाग्य मुझे मिल रहा है.
Mr. Modi said that Acharya Vallabh made an effort to make India self-reliant in the field of education. He laid the foundation stone for Indian rights educational institutions in many states. All India Radio, Delhi will broadcast the recording of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's address delivered earlier today via video conferencing on the occasion of unveiling the Statue of Peace to mark the 151st birth anniversary celebration of Jain Acharya Shri Vijay Vallabh Sureshwarji Maharaj. It will be broadcast on its Rajdhani and FM Rainbow channels at 9:30 tonight.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be attending the 12th BRICS Summit tomorrow. Hosted by Russia, the meeting will be held in a virtual format. Global stability, shared security and innovative growth is the theme of the summit. During the 12th summit, leaders would be discussing intra-BRICS cooperation and key issues in the global context, including the reform of the multilateral system. The leaders will also deliberate on measures to mitigate the impact of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, cooperation in counter-terrorism, trade, health, energy and people-to-people exchanges. India will be taking over the chairship of the BRICS. India will host the 13th BRICS Summit in 2021. Paddy procurement for Kharif 2020-21 is continuing smoothly in the procuring states and UTs with purchase of over 281.28 lakh metric tons LMTs of paddy till yesterday against the last year corresponding purchase of 233.89 LMT. This is an increase of 20.25% over the last year. Out of the total purchase of 281.28 LMT, Punjab alone has contributed 196.13 LMT, which is 69.73% of the total procurement. About 24.14 lakh farmers have already been benefited from the ongoing procurement operations with the MSP value of over 53,000 crore rupees. The chairman and members of the 15th Finance Commission today presented a copy of the Commission's report for the period 2021-22 to 2025-26 to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The Commission had submitted its report to President Ramnath Kovind on the 4th of November. It will present its report to the Finance Minister tomorrow.
The Employees Provident Fund Organization has facilitated multiple options for EPS pensioners to submit their Digital Life Certificate (DLC) close to their home or at their doorstep owing to the pandemic. Jeevan Praman Patra JPP submitted through all these modes or agencies are equally valid. In addition to the 135 regional offices and 117 district offices of EPFO, EPS pensioners can now submit DLC at pension disbursing bank branch and nearest post offices. DLC can also be submitted at nationwide network of over 3.65 lakh common services center. Apart from this, EPS pensioners can also submit DLC using the Umang app. Recently, India Post Payments Bank has launched the Doorstep Digital Life Certificate service for pensioners. EPS pensioners can now submit online requests for availing Doorstep DLC service on payment of a nominal fee. A postman from the nearest post office will visit a pensioner and complete the process of generating DLC at home of the pensioner only. As per fresh guidelines, EPS pensioners can now submit DLC at any time during the year as per their convenience. The life certificate will remain valid for 1 year from the date of submission of DLC. The pensioners who have been issued pension payment order in 2020 need not upload JPP till completion of 1 year. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu called upon the higher educational institutes to play a key role in making the country a hub of skilled human resources. He also called upon the institutions to make efforts to become global centers of excellence and contribute for making the country Atmanirbhar. He said the new education policy is in tune with this aspiration. Speaking after inaugurating the Amenities Center at the University of Hyderabad this morning, he asked youth and students to play a key role in eradicating social problems like illiteracy, atrocities against women, gender bias, and be proactive. He emphasized the need for imparting values and ethos to the future generations and also promoting creativity and research. He said the new education policy is in tune with this. Mr. Naidu also said that COVID pandemic has given some opportunities besides challenges. He asked everyone to follow COVID-19 guidelines to stay safe. Chancellor of the University, Justice Narasimha Reddy, and Vice Chancellor Professor P. Appa Rao also spoke on the occasion.
In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the BJP has released the third list of 33 candidates for the 6th, 7th and 8th phases of upcoming District Development Council DDC elections at the party headquarters Trikut Nagar, Jammu. AIR Jammu correspondent reports that the BJP General Secretary for J&K, Devendra Kumar Manyal, in consultation with Party President Ravinder Raina and other senior party leaders, made the announcement for the names of party leaders who are entrusted with the party's mandate for the 6th, 7th and 8th phases of DDC elections. In the third list of candidates, which has been issued today, names of 33 candidates have been announced for DDC elections in Jammu region. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, terrorists hurled a grenade towards a police post at Frisal in Kulgam and another one on a police station at Shopian this evening. However, in both the incidents, no loss of life or injury has occurred as the grenades missed the intended targets. The terrorists, taking the advantage of darkness, managed to flee away from the spots. Meanwhile, both the areas have been cordoned off by the security forces and search operations have been launched to nab the attackers.
Pakistani Army initiated an unprovoked ceasefire violation, CFV, along the LOC in Tangdar sector of Kupwara district in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir this evening by firing mortars and other weapons. Defence spokesperson Colonel Rajesh Kalia said that Indian Army is, however, giving a befitting response to the Pakistani aggression. Meanwhile, there was no reports of any casualties or injuries to anyone in the ceasefire violation when the reports last came in. Details are awaited. You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi appeals to spiritual leaders to disseminate vocal for local message among their followers. 14-member Bihar cabinet sworn in with Nitish Kumar as the Chief Minister. Tarkishore Prasad and Renu Devi of BJP become Deputy Chief Ministers. EPFO facilitates multiple options for submission of digital life certificate for pensioners. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 93.27% in the country. Information and Broadcasting Ministry requests compliance of policy on FDI in digital media within a month. And Baghjan blowout well in Tinsukia district of Assam fully brought under control. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts. चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे. The country's COVID-19 recovery rate has reached 93.27%. More than 43,000 COVID patients recovered during the last 24 hours. According to Health Ministry, the total number of recoveries has gone up to over 82,49,000. The actual caseload currently comprises only 5.2% of the total positive cases. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is 4,65,000. During the past 24 hours, 30,548 new cases were reported, taking the total number of positive cases to over 88,45,000. The ministry said that effective implementation of the strategic and graded test, track and treat approach has led to higher recoveries and lower fatalities. Currently, India's case fatality rate is at 1.47%, which is one of the lowest globally. During the last 24 hours, 435 deaths were reported, taking the toll to 1,30,070. According to the Indian Council of Medical Research, over 8,61,000 tests were conducted during the last 24 hours. The total number of samples tested so far has gone up to 12,56 lakh. Home Minister Amit Shah reviewed the prevailing COVID-19 situation in Delhi and medical infrastructure at a high-level meeting in which he directed to increase the RT-PCR test in the national capital by twofold. After holding the meeting yesterday, Mr. Shah, in a series of tweets, said that mobile testing vans of the Ministry of Health and ICMR will be deployed where there is a high risk of COVID-19 infection by maximum use of the capacity of labs in Delhi. He said the capacity of hospitals and availability of other medical infrastructure in Delhi should be increased, as well as 250 to 300 ICU beds will be added in the DRDO COVID-19 hospital located in Dholakwa, built in May this year, so that treatment can be provided for serious COVID patients there. In Manipur, 3 persons have died due to COVID-19 infection in the past 24 hours, taking the corona death toll in the state to 224. On the other hand, 178 people have tested positive for COVID-19 in the past 24 hours in the state. The total number of affected people so far in the state has reached 22,049. All the new cases are locals and do not have travel history. 239 people were discharged after recovery in the past 24 hours in the state, and the recovery rate is 85.40%. Nagaland's COVID-19 tally has reached 10,000 mark today after the detection of 140 fresh positive cases. The state also reported one COVID death from Kohima. The total confirmed caseload now stands at 10,025.
Bharat Biotech has announced commencement of Phase 3 trials of Covaxin today. The Phase 3 trials will involve 26,000 volunteers across India, conducted in partnership with ICMR. It is the largest clinical trial conducted for a COVID-19 vaccine in India. This is India's first Phase 3 efficacy study for a COVID-19 vaccine and the largest Phase 3 efficacy trial ever conducted in India. The trial has been registered at www.ctri.nic.in and approved by the Drugs Controller General of India. Covaxin is a highly purified and inactivated vaccine manufactured in a Virocell manufacturing platform with an excellent safety track record of more than 300 million doses supplied. Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan has said that there is no better future without health for all. Digitally chairing the WHO Executive Board today, the minister highlighted global partnerships and investments in global public health for strengthening health systems. He said that in the gravest of situations, humankind has conquered its adversaries with collaborations and supplementing efforts of each other by pooling resources. The minister expressed India's commitment to work with the WHO, the member states and the global community of partners for efficient, effective and responsive discharge of public health obligations.
This is the time that we must enhance our cooperation and collaboration. We must work in unison with each other as member states, with all UN organizations, as well as the global community of partners for efficient, effective and responsive discharge of public health obligations.
Dr. Harshvardhan added that the Southeast Asian region and India are continuously striving to improve health services, their reach, delivery and quality.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar today said India's response to crises like COVID is enormous and it will enhance self-confidence for future and enhance cooperation globally. He was addressing after virtually inaugurating the third edition of the Deccan Dialogue organized by the External Affairs Ministry and the Hyderabad-based Indian School of Business, ISB. Mr. Jaishankar appreciated India's response to COVID pandemic and recalled that the nation developed production capability of healthcare sector and built up systems to deal with the situation.
If we have created more than 15,000 dedicated facilities with 1.5 million isolation beds, if more than 1 million Indians are tested daily by 7,000 centers, if Arogya Setu was devised to facilitate contact tracing, then it speaks volumes about our inherent capabilities. Not just that, our social discipline was extraordinary, standing out in comparison with many developed economies.
Minister of Housing and Urban Affairs and Civil Aviation, Hardeep Singh Puri, has exuded confidence that India will come out of the crisis comfortably. Speaking at concluding session of the Deccan Dialogue 3, the minister said, as a country, we should have robust healthcare system in place to deal with major pandemic and we should not depend on any single region or country for supplies. Stating that the COVID situation has rectified the gaps in the healthcare sector, the minister said making choice to make between lives and livelihoods is difficult. He also said the COVID situation has come when the technology is getting boost, which helped to manage the situation in a better way. Speaking about Atmanirbhar Bharat initiatives, he said these steps have helped in building resilience of the economy and also other sectors.
The second phase of Exercise Malabar 2020 will be conducted in the Northern Arabian Sea from tomorrow to the 20th of this month. Taking forward the synergy achieved in the recently concluded Phase 1 of the Exercise Malabar 2020, which was conducted earlier this month, this phase will involve coordinated operations of increasing complexity between the navies of Australia, India, Japan and the US. Information and Broadcasting Minister has requested compliance of policy on FDI in digital media within a month. The ministry today issued a public notice to facilitate eligible entities involved in uploading and streaming of news and current affairs through digital media to comply with the decision of the government, which had permitted 26% FDI under government approval route. The entities having foreign investment below 26% may furnish an intimation to the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting within 1 month from today.
Today is National Press Day. It is observed on 16th of this month every year and symbolic of a free and responsible press. It was on this day the Press Council of India started functioning as a moral watchdog to ensure that the press maintain high standards and is not fettered by any influence or threats. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has greeted to all the media professionals on National Press Day. In a tweet, Mr. Naidu said, media plays a key role in strengthening democracy and in informing and empowering the citizens. Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar has said that press freedom is the soul of democracy. Addressing a webinar on the National Press Day organized by Press Council of India, Mr. Javadekar said the attack on freedom of press is not good and press freedom is responsible freedom.
प्रेस की आजादी अनिर्बंध नहीं होती, ये जिम्मेवार आजादी है, रिस्पॉन्सिबल फ्रीडम। और कोई भी आजादी ये उसके अंगभूत बंधनों के साथ आती है कि एक रिस्पॉन्सिबल जर्नलिज्म करना है, सेंसेशनलाइजेशन नहीं करना है, लेकिन अपनी बात रखने की आजादी है।
Mr. Javadekar said the government has constituted a committee to look into the TRP system and it will soon submit its report. Today is the International Day for Tolerance. The day recognizes the universal human rights and fundamental freedom of others. It gives a message that people are naturally diverse. Only tolerance can ensure the survival of mixed communities in every region of the globe. In an exclusive interview with AIR News, head of the UNESCO New Delhi office, Eric Ford, said that education is the key to fight intolerance.
As UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said on the occasion of this day, people are not born to hate. Intolerance is learned and can be unlearned. So my message today is that education is the key to fight intolerance.
In Assam, the Bagjan blowout well in Tinsukia district was fully brought under control. Talking to AIR correspondent, the spokesperson of Oil India Limited, Tridev Hazarika, said that after the 24 hours of observation, all the parameters are found under control. He said that as per norms, the well would be abandoned now. It took over 5 months to bring the situation fully under control at Bagjan. Mr. Hazarika said the experts, with the help of a 60-ton snubbing unit, killed the blowout well.
After 172 days of ordeal, Oil India could finally bring the Bagjan well number 2 under control yesterday. The well has been fully controlled. There is no pressure at the wellhead, and the fire in the flare pit has also been doused. Nothing is of worry now. After this, the well will be totally abandoned as per the company's well abandonment policy. Struggle, but finally we could control the well, and I think a normal life will now return to Bagjan.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed deep grief over the demise of Rajasthan Cabinet Minister Master Bhanwar Lal Meghwal. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said he was a veteran leader who was passionate about serving Rajasthan. The Prime Minister expressed condolences to the grieving family and supporters. This festive season has yielded great dividends to the Khadi artisans with a record sale of Khadi products. In just 40 days since the 2nd of October, Khadi single-day sales figure has crossed the 1 crore mark for 4 times at the flagship Khadi India outlet at Connaught Place in New Delhi. KVIC Chairman Vinay Kumar Saxena attributed the massive sale figures to the frequent appeals of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to promote Swadeshi, particularly Khadi. Bhai Dooj, the festival celebrating the special bond between brothers and sisters, is being celebrated today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has extended his best wishes to the people on the occasion.
The Sports Ministry has sanctioned 10 lakh rupees towards the treatment of hockey Olympian Mohinderpal Singh. Mr. Singh is suffering from a chronic kidney ailment and is currently on dialysis. The money sanctioned under the Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay National Welfare Fund for sportsperson was given to his wife Shivjeet Singh today. In Uttar Pradesh, change in the weather has been reported from the many parts of state. Widespread rain accompanied with strong winds have damaged the crops also. Our correspondent has filed this report.
Rain along with strong winds damaged the paddy crop standing in the fields and also badly affected the sowing of wheat. It also damaged the paddy collected at few procurement centers spread over the state. Sudden weather change also added chill to the temperature, and sudden dip in the mercury forced people to wear woolen clothes. Meteorological department has predicted that the same weather will continue for one more day, and only after that sky will be clear. Fog and moderate rain is also expected in many parts of the state tomorrow. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the higher reaches received the season's first spell of snowfall, while the plains received rain that caused a sharp dip in the temperatures of Kashmir Valley. To know more, let's listen to our Srinagar correspondent.
The higher reaches of Kashmir Valley witnessed the first snowfall of the season. Snowfall at hill stations like Gulmarg and Pahalgam are bringing the hope of the revival of tourism in Kashmir. Gulmarg is covered with a white blanket of snow and is attracting tourists arriving from various parts of the country. Meanwhile, the Srinagar-Leh National Highway and the Mughal Road, an alternate road link between Kashmir Valley and the rest of the country, are closed for vehicular traffic since Saturday evening in view of the accumulation of snow in the high-altitude Pir Ki Gali on Mughal Road and Zojila Pass on Srinagar-Leh National Highway. This is Sunil Cole for AIR News from Srinagar.
In Kargil, Ladakh, hundreds of vehicles are stranded due to the fresh snowfall at Zojila, leading to closure of NH1D connecting Ladakh UT with JNK UT. Snowfall after regular intervals is still observed at Meena Marg and Zojila, and keeping in view with the harsh conditions, traffic movement has been still suspended on the highway. Despite the cold and harsh condition with bone-chilling temperature, traffic and police personnel are still stationed at Meena Marg for the convenience of the general public, which has been appreciated by the people at large. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the Disaster Management Authority today issued a medium danger avalanche warning for the higher reaches of Kupwara and Bandipora districts. As per the statement, it has informed that the low danger avalanche warning continues to exist for the higher reaches of Baramulla and Ganderbal districts. The people living in these avalanche-prone areas have been advised to take precautionary measures and not to venture out in the avalanche-prone areas.
Now let's take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital is likely to experience shallow fog. The minimum temperature will be 12 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 27 degrees Celsius. In Mumbai, sky will be clear and the temperature will vary between 23 and 35 degrees Celsius. Chennai will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. The temperature will hover between 25 and 31 degrees Celsius. Kolkata is likely to have clear sky with temperature fluctuating between 21 and 32 degrees Celsius. Onto the north in Srinagar, sky will be partly cloudy, becoming generally cloudy towards afternoon or evening or night. The temperature will hover between 1 and 14 degrees Celsius. In Jammu, lower level of temperature will be 12 degrees Celsius, while the upper level will be around 26 degrees with a mainly clear sky. In Leh, sky will be partly cloudy. The minimum temperature will be -3 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 12 degrees. Gilgit will have partly cloudy sky with temperature hovering between 4 and 16 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad is likely to have mainly clear sky. The temperature will move from 12 to 20 degrees Celsius. In Dehradun, the temperature will hover between 11 and 27 degrees Celsius. The city will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Chandigarh will have mainly clear sky. The temperature is likely to move from 13 to 24 degrees Celsius. In Hyderabad, the minimum temperature will be 20 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 31 degrees. The city will have partly cloudy sky with haze. Ahmedabad will witness a clear sky. Minimum temperature will be 16 degrees, while maximum will be around 34 degrees. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi appeals to spiritual leaders to disseminate vocal for local message among their followers. 14-member Bihar cabinet sworn in with Nitish Kumar as Chief Minister. Tarkishore Prasad and Renu Devi of the BJP become Deputy Chief Ministers. EPFO facilitates multiple options for submission of digital life certificate for pensioners. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 93.27% in the country. Information and Broadcasting Ministry requests compliance of policy on FDI in digital media within a month. And Bagjan blowout well in Tinsukia district of Assam fully brought under control. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.